Welcome everybody to Escaping PowerPoint Purgatory. My name is Sharon Ferrier and my business is Persuasive Presentations. So today we're going to talk about PowerPoint in the historical perspective, what audiences dislike most about PowerPoint, current research and attitudes with PowerPoint, and point number 4. It's all right, it might just be, should be next. No, okay, so it's okay, I've had this happen before, it's just a bit of a loose connection, I think. That work? No. Okay, so suffice to say, folks, I'm only joking. I did this once at a conference. I should have warned the woman who booked me because she was sitting in the front row going, oh my God, she came so highly recommended. And then I did it another time at a training forum, and this woman up the back, her eyes were saying, I'm going to bring you down. You know, she was kind of like, how dare you stand up and deliver this presentation. Ah! I love this photo from Microsoft Clip Art because this is kind of like, you know, this is their own product, and here they've got a slide that's crooked, you can't read anything on there, and look, they've got a jug of water next to $6,000 worth of equipment. Yay! So this is kind of, they're even demonstrating not what to do with PowerPoint. But the biggest problem that I see, and I think overhearing some of the things you were talking about as well, is the incidence of PIWI. Now this is a really nasty condition. It generally happens around about this time of day. You know, we've had a big carbohydrate lunch, we've been in a stuffy room, I've dimmed the lights so you can see the PowerPoint, and this is what we're seeing, is PowerPoint-induced whiplash injury. So you're sitting there and you're watching and you're going, yeah, okay. And when your head hits your chest with a crack, that's when you know you have succumbed to PowerPoint-induced whiplash injury. Anybody experienced that before? Okay, see, I used to work in the medical profession. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I used to attend medical seminars where they'd come in those days, this was before PowerPoint, but they'd come in with 4 carousels of slides. And I'm going, this is a 20-minute presentation and he's got 4 carousels of slides, and I knew it was just going to go downhill from there on in. This is what we hate about PowerPoint. This is the annoying PowerPoint survey done by Dave Parati. He does it every few years. I've kept this one because I didn't want to change the slides. But, you know, every single time he brings it out, there's no change. The most annoying one is this. Just in case you can't read, I'll read the slide for you. Note, I will not add any more information. I'll just read exactly what's on the slide. Actually, I'm using the slide as a teleprompter. Hey, you may as well not even be here because I'm not even looking at you at all. Sound familiar? I had a guy once a lecturer used to do that quite a lot. And he said, oh, excuse me, is there going to be a handout on this? And the gentleman goes, yes, I've got all my slides printed out right here. Everyone to hand to everyone. And he walked down, grabbed those and went off to a coffee shop. Because wouldn't it be so much nicer to be able to read through that at your leisure, having a nice cappuccino, rather than having someone read to you? Oh, gosh. Number 2 top hate is text so small it can only be read in the front row. It's okay though, because I can read it and this slide's not for you anyway. And I love it at conferences. They go, oh, it's a little bit small. And I'm thinking, mate, we have the technology to be able to change that. You can do something about that, you know. Heart palpitations. Number 3 top hate is information overload. Copy it all up, slap it on a slide, that's the way people learn. Number 4 top hate, people believe that. There's a lot of people out there that believe that. I'll talk a bit about that, it's scary. Number 4 top hate is poor colour choice. Why? Because your organisation spent a lot of time getting this beautiful template with their logo embedded, and then you put it up on a slide and it looks like. Number 5 top hate. Wait for it, it's coming. What? And daggy little clip arts. My son was 10 and he had a presentation on open night in his classroom. He did all of this. And I went up to him and gave him a big hug and said, honey, that was outstanding. Because when you're 10, this rocks. When you're an adult, not so much. Number 6 top hate is annoying use of sounds. Not that I see this much anymore, but you know, the guys tend to like the skid marks, the fireworks, all that type of stuff. You know, that type of stuff. Number 7 top hate, I see a lot of, which is the complex diagram. Now I need to be really clear here because diagrams are fabulous. This is an incredible tool for getting visual messages across. But if you put something like this, the first thing that happens is people's eyeballs go, oh my God, task number 4. I thought there was only supposed to be 3 of these. What happened here? What happened? The ETSI guide? Really? What, where? Phase 2? What, you know? And people just get the cognitive load, just goes whoosh. And they will not understand it because an anxious brain cannot learn. So it creates huge anxiety, a complex diagram. Number 8 top hate is poor structure. Why? Because a lot of people just open up a laptop and start punching out slides without actually thinking about what's the best flow for this information. Number 9 top hate is what's important. I don't know, I hadn't really thought about an objective. You mean I need an objective? Don't know. And the last one is too many fonts. And this is a quote from one of the participants in my workshop who believed that if I put on interesting fonts, it will keep the audience engaged. Okay. I examined why this happens because I worked with an organisation in Adelaide where the director of training was outstanding. She was a brilliant trainer. And she said, Sharon, I want you to come in and have a chat to the trainers because something's going wrong. I'm not too sure what it is, but I can't seem to fix it. And I went back to her and I said, they're killing the audience with PowerPoint. It's bullet point by bullet point right between the eyes and until they're dead. I said, your PowerPoints are terrible. And she said, well, this was the problem, is that we had to get registered as an RTO very quickly. And we put in the manuals and we put in this and this. And then they said, where's your PowerPoints? And I said, oh my goodness, no. And I just slapped a whole lot of stuff from the manuals onto the slides and gave it to them and we got accredited. I said, great. But unfortunately, your trainers are using those slides now with their participants and it's killing them. Because poor use of this will drag you down that dark hole where it will suck the life out of your message and it will suck the life out of your workshop. This was an example slide that I copied from an organisation, TAFE I think it was, in Adelaide. This guy was an awesome trainer. He was training in veterinary skills and he introduced forceps. And he said, here it is. He said, here it is. These are the type of slides that he had. He said, here's the forceps, all the information on there. Yep. And I'm going, and having heart palpitations because this is telling, not selling. And then I said, but look, why not just show them? I was, oh yeah, I forgot there's the picture of the forceps. And he said, but what am I, how else can I deliver this? And this is the question that you had as well, is you said, well, it's highly technical information. How can I get all that information myself to know what to tell them, make sure I'm on task? And how do I then get them to know all that information? Now, with this guy here, I said, right, this is what you do with PowerPoint with this. You turn it off. Then you get everyone on tables. Then you chuck down a whole lot of artery forceps. And then either in the notes or maybe if you need to up on the PowerPoint, give them a series of questions. Right, here's the interesting thing about these artery forceps. They have a little clamp here. Why do they have a clamp there? See if they can figure it out. Why do you think artery forceps have a clamp? Any ideas? What are your thoughts? Any ideas? To stem the flow. Okay, give me an example of that. To stem the flow of blood. Yep. Yeah, so you can clamp it down gently or hard and then you can let it go because it's holding it there. Great. Now the other interesting thing that you need to know about artery forceps is if you bend them around like this, the two bits come apart. Denise, why do you think they come apart?
Easy to clean.
Yeah, good, excellent. What do you do after you clean them? Well, before you do that, sterilise them. Chocolate frog to the lady up the back there. So here's the thing. What have we just done here? Self-discovery learning, haven't we? So this is me going, yada, 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 and you go, yeah, whatever. My son taught me this the other day. You should all know this, okay? It's what, I've got to do it around the right way now for you. Yeah, what, I need to do it that hand. Whatever major loser. So just in case, if you want to get up with 11-year-old lingo, it's whatever major loser, okay? I just whatever major loser back again. So this is telling. Self-discovery is selling, because they've discovered it yourself, you take ownership of it now. So with your technical information, what we need to do with PowerPoint is break up our information. We need our notes. So my notes for this presentation look something like this. I've got the slides written down here and just what I'm talking about there. So it's nice, big, large, 16 font, because my eyesight's fading, so it's nice 16 font. So I just have to glance at that to see if I'm on task. But if this was a workshop, I'd need your workbook. So this type of stuff I would have in their workbook, along with some questions on why are they gold tipped, why do they have 3 levels of clamp, why do they get them to workshop that. So this is where, PowerPoint, unfortunately, we're trying to make do everything. So there's been several schools of thought examining PowerPoint now, because people used to tell me, you need to have PowerPoint. And I'd say, yeah, really, why? And they'd say, because people won't learn it unless they read their visual learners. So they need this woman got a bit aggressive to me in this workshop. They're visual learners, so they need to be able to read it so that they can learn it. And I'm getting a twitch in my left eye now. Well, actually, no, visual learners need to see a picture of it so that they can kind of fix it up in their memory and things. And if they need to read it, I'll put it in the handout. But Professor Edward Tufte was the first character that looked at PowerPoint. And his paper on the cognitive style of PowerPoint, he basically went, whoa, this is a real problem. Even rocket scientists are getting it wrong. He blamed the space shuttle disaster on lack of PowerPoint use because, that's my phone there buzzing away there. He blamed it on lack of PowerPoint use because they were so complex in their delivery of this PowerPoint presentation that people didn't see it was those little reflective panels that were the problem. This is a wonderful study done by Professor John Sweller from the University of New South Wales. And what he did was he got a whole lot of students, talked to them about a topic, gave them a test out of 30-odd questions, and this is how they performed. And then he took a different, same age group, same demographics, another group, he sat down with them, talked to them about the topic, and also put text up on the screen, and this is what happened. Now, it doesn't look like much, but it's statistically significant. In other words, every time he did this, he got the same results. And he came up with the theory of cognitive load. I don't think we need to go this far. But the bottom line is this. You probably know we can't multitask. So what you're asking people to do if you're putting text up on the screen is for them to multitask, because they're reading something. They can read faster than you can speak. They get down to point number 7, go, oh, it's interesting about point number 7, I didn't know that. And then I say something fascinating about point number 2, and they go, what was that? I missed that. I'll go into point number 8. And so they're jumping back and forth. This increases cognitive load. You get increased cognitive load, and you get reduced retention. This is what happens. Increased cognitive load, reduced retention. Now, is anyone feeling a little bit nervous about their PowerPoint presentation now? Is anyone looking back on some of the training materials they've been forced to use over the years and going, holy crap, yeah, I know. And it's really hard because, you're probably thinking, oh no, this is another thing that we have to do now. There's so much that we have to do. But if you are designing stuff, keep this in mind. We do have control over PowerPoint. And this is where PowerPoint rocks. Because we can do this. I've got a friend of mine who teaches visual display in retail. And she said visual display started in the marketplace. Visual display is about taking ordinary, everyday objects and making them pop. Visual display is about getting people to touch, to taste, and to smell, and ultimately buy your product. And then she uses this to show fabulous photos before and after of how she can direct traffic flow through your store, create fabulous display that will get people stopping and buying, and also showing research on sales increases, etc. Great for PowerPoint. So your objective here is this. This is from An Inconvenient Truth. Now, this was Inconvenient Truth was probably well over 10 years ago. But up to recently, the recollection of this one slide was amazing. An Inconvenient Truth, everyone knows the movie? It was essentially, sorry? Al Gore, yes, exactly. And it was essentially a PowerPoint presentation. There was something like 260 slides, and out of those 260 slides, it had text on 15, which was only quotes. And he showed this. Can you remember what this was? No, yeah, the recollection's gone a bit now, but basically he said, look, this is looking at the CO2 level and global warming, and this is where we were here, this is where we're going to be in, sorry cameraman, this is where we're going to be in 50 years, in 100 years' time. And this line went off the screen and up to the ceiling of this huge auditorium. Now, what I love about this is there's no information on the x-axis or the y-axis, it's just a billboard, highly visual, and he made it emotive. It was really interesting, really well done. So, how's your anxiety level feeling? Because your first question is, I want you to ask yourself, where are you on the slide evolution scale? Because to be honest, this is how I was taught to use PowerPoint in the 90s. Someone said to me, oh yeah, if you write it, they'll remember it. And all you have to do is copy all your stuff and put it up on a slide. Yay. And then most people I talk to say, oh yeah, no, I don't do that. I say, great, what do you do? Oh, I use bullet points. Now here's the same information with bullet points. This will still cause cognitive overload and reduce retention. So let's look at it. Look, this is the old Morabian research, which we're probably all familiar with. We can put it in a pie chart, but it's not a junk here. With junk, without junk, it's pretty easy to get rid of junk. And if you haven't discovered smart art, well, this is your chance to look at smart art, because this is what you can do. You don't need to be a computer genius. You can just click smart art and create a lovely diagram that's visual that people remember. And then you can talk about it. You can just, go through it and talk about it. So once again, let's start from that again, from this, to make it visual. How do we make it visual? How do we use animation for good? Hurrah. So, a couple of tips and tricks. If you do not have a Logitech power projector, buy one from Officeworks for around about, well, it's under $100. There's a little UB-dooby-gooby thing that plugs into your UB-dooby what's-it thing, and you turn it on and it works. This battery I've had in here for about a year now. I do a lot of workshops, and it's never let me down. It's fabulous, and it means you can walk around, and most importantly, it means you can do this. Hurrah! Because even if you just leave something like this up there, people sit there and go like this. Whereas this, they kind of go, oh, what happened? Oh, she seems to be okay with it, so this must be planned. Use smart art. You don't need to do an expensive PowerPoint course. I did one, it was a waste of money. All you do is go onto the Microsoft website and say, how do I? And it will tell you. Power Presenter, this one's a Logitech brand. This is the old one, there's a new Flash version out, but I still like my old one. Use the B key. If you don't have one of these, you press the B key and this happens. Hurrah! Isn't that fabulous? Any key, bring it back. The W key makes it white, which is really good because now we can do shadow puppets. So if people go, oh, that looks like Rabbit's doing something naughty. Anyway, yeah. So if people get really bored, you can do something like that. Jump around. Not you personally. I'm not wearing the right bra for that, but you can jump around your PowerPoint presentations if you use your notes where you know what slide you're supposed to be up to. So if someone says, can you show me that research again, Schools of Thought, I can go, sure, that's slide number 33. So I go 3, enter, and it takes me to where? Back to slide number, that should be, okay, I might have changed this since I last. So do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay, heavens, now this is going to be fun because slide evolution should be 55. No, okay, 65. Whew, yay, we're back on there. Actually on that, what slide number do you think we're up to? I did say 65, yeah. But are you surprised that we're up to slide number 65? Because when I sent this to the organisers, they said, I thought your course was called Escaping PowerPoint Purgatory. And I said, it is. And they said, well, we just laughed because you've got 79 slides that you're going through in 30 minutes. Has it felt like 65 slides? No. Because look, and here's the thing, is it's not about the number of slides, it's how you use them. Because if you're just using them as little, you know, for example, those 10 top hates, let me black this out for you. That 10 top hates, I used 20 slides to explain something I could have put on one slide. Why did I use 20 slides?
Make it digestible.
Sorry?
To make it digestible.
I made it digestible, yeah. I made it fun, you know, there's a big countdown. I also gave an example of each one. So you could go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Make it a bit more sticky. Animation can rock. This is smart art, this little one here, and I've animated it so it pops up one by one. And the last one, oh, this is just for the boys in the group. You probably already know this one. But Control P, I don't know why the guys like this, turns your mouse into a pen. So that means that, you know, you can draw little drawings on there. I think the guys like it because they're into cricket, and they go, yes, he hit the ball out to the silly mid-on. And there's the player down, you know, that type of stuff. Control E turns your mouse into an eraser, you know. But look, I just want to warn everybody that just because you can do it doesn't mean you necessarily should, okay? Okay, so let me get, no, my mouse is gone, good. Let me show you some examples of before and after. And these are people that I've helped with their PowerPoint presentations. So the first one was a website launch. This was a woman who the website hasn't gone live as yet. So are you writing down about the Control P? I was going to say, look, if you want to find that, if you right click it, it will come down to help. And there's all your little shortcuts there. But it's got to be in slideshow mode. So slideshow mode, right click, and it will come up. Okay, so this was a website launch. It hadn't gone live, and she said, look, this is the website here. And I said, whoa, people are just going to want to pluck their eyelashes off because this is, you know, they're not going to be. I said, the first thing you need to do is make it big, and then this is not necessary, get rid of it, and now you need to find a way to draw people's attention to what they're looking at. I said, go away, have a play, come back. She came back and said, okay, I've gone and done something else different. And I went, good, what is it? I put a transparent box on. So now you can focus on the top, then you can focus on the side, and then you can focus on the body. And I'm going, how cool is that? And because I'm so incredibly high tech, I'm not going to be able to show you on this. Hang on a minute, I better, oh yeah, I am. So look, this is so simple because I am so high tech, it's not funny. All you do is you put in a box, and then you right click your box onto format shape. Sorry if I'm standing in the way here, I'll bob down a little bit. And you say, yes, we want a solid fill, but we don't want that, we want a black solid fill. Thank you. And also you need to make the no line. But there you have it. There is your, make it transparent, sorry. Format shape and make it transparent. This little thing here, around about there, that'll do. Close that. And voila. There is your transparent box, which miraculously turned into red for some reason. And you can move that around and cover up things. So this is really useful. You know, it's like the old version of the white paper on the overheads. You can cover up a few things. This was a young woman that I was a uni student, and she was studying engineering. I was mentoring her, and she said, I've got a tube presentation coming up. I went, yes, I can help with this, because engineering I know nothing about, but I can help with the tube presentation. And her whole slides, they all looked like this. And I said, so what's your objective? And she said, high distinction. And I said, good objective. This, however, is not going to get you there. I said, go away. Here's a few tips. Make it visual. Come back. And she did. And she said, what I'm talking about today is the redevelopment of the Cheltenham Racecourse. So Adelaide CBD is here. Cheltenham is around about 7 kilometres northwest of Adelaide. If we look at the area that's going to be redeveloped, here it is. And the challenge that we've got is we've got the existing racecourse plus a whole lot of developers that are coming in as well. Then we've got Cheltenham Parade, Torrens Road, Port Road, which are all major roads carrying a lot of traffic, as well as a proposed tram line. Now it's a complex diagram. But because she built it in front of you, You got it. You get it. This is where PowerPoint's powerful. Because who's never been to Adelaide? Okay, you're missing out, folks. But you've never been to Adelaide. But if I show you this, you got it, haven't you? You're going, okay, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, that's all good. I can see that. How cool. Then she had this little slide, which unfortunately I wasn't able to save the animation for because it was so cool. And what she had was, this was her timeline. So this little red car popped up, and then this signpost. Then the red card disappeared, this one popped up, and the data collection and so on and so forth. This was purely to impress her peers because she was going to get marked by them as well. And she wanted her peers going, oh my God, that PowerPoint was so cool. There was no whatever major loser at all. It was awesome. And she got a high distinction. How cool is that? So in summary, this is what we've been talking about. And if you're going to put text up there, shut up. So I think we've got time for questions and comments. So throw them at me. Yeah.
Sorry, Sharon, mine's more of a comment, and it's because I believe that probably there's a good percentage of people in the room that use PowerPoint. There is a website called prezi.com that allows you to upload all of your resources and turn them into something like a photo board, which allows for animation not only between slides, but within the slides.
Now, may I make a comment on Prezi, please?
Have you played?
I have played and I have seen.
Yes.
And I said, no, so Prezi is kind of, if you imagine just one single slide and you can zoom into bits and zoom out, and then you can whip around here and look at this and put in videos. You know, the idea is fabulous. But it's got the same challenges that PowerPoint has, is that people zoom into something and what do you see? A massive text. So they still do that. The other problem is that some of your audience will sit there going, oh my God, this is so cool. Well, how'd you do that? Look at that. Wow, wow. And I was sitting next to this woman once and I said, wow, you're really into social media, aren't you? Because that presentation. Yeah, and she said, what? And I said, well, we just saw that presentation on social media. Oh, no, I'm not interested in that. I want to know what the software was. So here's the thing, is if you're going to use something, make sure that it supports your message. Because I have seen Prezi done really well, and I've seen Prezi done poorly where I feel nauseous, and there's also been way too much text and whizzy things popping up. But yeah, check it out, because it is a cool tool. Thanks for that. Any other questions or comments? I know Deb, was it? Yeah, Deb had one before. She said, so what do you do about when you use technical information? And look, this is the thing, if I can't emphasise this enough, you need three things. Do not make PowerPoint do all the work. PowerPoint is your visual tool. If you don't need a visual tool, you do this. You have your handout, and then you have your own speaking notes in point form in a large font. So keep this visual. If it's working for you, leave it on. If it's not, turn it off. Yeah, Deb, we'll talk about that other question you had later on. We can have a chat. Any other questions or comments? So there is an article, sorry?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I find it fascinating how PowerPoint has evolved to, I've recently been with what we do is in the RTO space, and I've discovered that PowerPoints are used as session plans for,
Yes.
you know, training, teaching and learning, you know.
Yes.
And I just can't fathom how they even got there, you know, in the first place. Because I say, write me a session plan, and I'm not talking like the really detailed one, but an interactive guide that's,
yeah.
You know, and they'll give me a PowerPoint
yeah.
presentation, and I say, why has that become your Bible for delivering an interactive session?
So the question from Natalie was, you know, where did PowerPoint become a session plan? And it's interesting when I'm working with people, whether they're developing a workshop or a presentation, I take them through 10 steps to a persuasive presentation. The first step is session objective. The second step is know your audience, really uncover what their WIFM is. The third step is topic development, really flesh it out. Fourth step is structure. Fifth step is now let's make it persuasive. Sixth step is, you know, your body language and all that jazz. Seventh step is handling the curly questions, how you're going to answer those curly questions. Eighth step, I have no idea, I can't remember. Ninth step is, do you need PowerPoint? And the thing is that I have seen exceptional communicators use PowerPoint, and it has dragged them down. So my first step with with developing a presentation is to grab a whiteboard and do a mind map and then start working with that and then start saying, okay, I'm teaching forklift driving. Well, yes, I'm going to put some videos in. I'm teaching forklift driving. I need to get them out and operating forklifts. But then I need to come back and maybe, you know, do something else, get them working on tables. Where does PowerPoint fit into that? Yeah, I need to show a video. I need to show some detailed stuff that I can't show them on the actual machine itself, so that's useful. So I've got 5 slides that I need to use. Anything else should be in the handbook.
Yeah, it's just crazy that it's evolved to that, you know.
Yeah. I blame the RTO qualification, the RTO, what do you call it? The standards, because they say, show us your PowerPoint. And so everyone panics last minute, oh my God, we haven't got those, let's put them some together in a real hurry. No, that's what I've seen anyway in the training areas. And the other thing that I see in companies is a PowerPoint culture. There's one organisation I work for that they want you to send this PowerPoint out. So the PowerPoint becomes the report, it becomes your email, and it becomes your presentation tool as well as your notes, which is just a mess. Any other questions or comments? And there is an article, if you go to my the persuasivepresentations.wordpress.com, you'll see my escaping PowerPoint presentation article on there, so it'll give you a whole lot of information. But the bottom line is, have a play, own it, and then ask yourself, is this adding to my message or detracting from it? And if it's not adding to your message, you don't do it. Thanks so much for coming, everybody.
Authorised by the Government of Western Australia, Perth.